So there's going to be two lectures on bibliographies today. You've got your lecture on bibliographies, which is what you just clicked on to get this lecture, and then after this you're going to watch the lecture on annotated bibliographies. So just making you aware there are two, and they're both very, very necessary. Let's just start with bibliographies right now. At the top here, it gives you a definition. A bibliography is a list of sources, books, journals, websites, periodicals, magazines, anywhere that you get your information for your paper. One is used for researching a topic. They're sometimes called references or works cited depending on the style format you are using. In this particular style format we're using, APA, that will be the American Psychological Association. It's a format that we're going to be using. We're going to be calling those a reference rather than a bibliography. And what you're going to do eventually is, when you're done with your paper, you're going to have to give the reader a list of all of the books, articles, websites, interviews, whatever you used to help you write your paper, to support your argument for the paper. You're going to give the reader a list of all of those places where you got your information, so that if they want to further educate themselves on your topic, they know where to go. Plus, it also gives credibility to your topic. If you are quoting people that are really in the know about your particular topic, gives more credibility. People are apt to believe what you're saying in your paper if you're basing it on research and what the experts say. So it helps that way too. So the bibliography page, or the reference page that we will be calling it, is at the end of the paper, and it will be a list of all the sources that you used in order to write your paper. For example, let me just show you one real quick, if I can find the one that I used as I kind of hop through this real quick. Okay, this one right there. We've got references, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different sources on this particular page that the writer used in order to write their paper. That's where they got their information there. Can't read it very good, but that's what these little, they're kind of opposite of indents. This is an indent and this isn't, but each of these is a separate source, and that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be learning how to write your bibliography page. Okay, in order to do that, while you're reading your information, as you're reading your books, as you're reading articles, etc., these are some things that you need to write down. If you're going to use stuff from a particular magazine article or from a book, you're going to have to write this down as you're deciding, oh yeah, this is really good stuff, I'm going to go ahead and use this in my paper. Make sure that you write these 8 things down so that you don't have to dig and try to find out where in the world did I get this information that I want to use in my paper, because you have to give the author credit. So first of all, you're going to write the author's name and or editor. Editor is usually the one who goes through and makes sure that it's workable as far as to put in a magazine or something. So not all books have editors, but if there is one, put it down. The title. The edition, if there is one. So let's say that you're looking at a book and it's the 4th edition. You want to make sure you put that down. Volume number, usually in an article, a magazine article, it will give you a volume 4 or something like that. The publisher. Publisher is always necessary. Who is the one that put this thing together? The writing book that you're using for class, the publisher is Thomson Wadsworth. So that's in the front of the book. And the city of publication is also in the front of the book. And I'm looking at the page right before the table of contents. And on the right-hand column in the middle, Thomson Higher Education gives you Boston, Massachusetts there for the city of publication. Date of publication is the copyright. And that is also on that same page. Left-hand side, about 3/4 of the way down, it says 2008, 2005, so you want to get the newest date down there. That's the most recent. And then the page number where you got your information. And that's just for your own benefit. Eventually, you're going to put that together in a particular order and go ahead and put this in a systematic way on your reference page. But right now, just pause this video for a minute and write these 8 things down, so you remember when you're reading an article, you put down all of this information so that you remember where you got the article. Okay, so reference page. Let's talk for a minute about APA, MLA, and various other ways as far as putting a paper together. MLA and APA are just two particular styles to put your paper together. The MLA is modern language, APA is American psychological. If you look at the top of this page here, it is the most commonly used site source, or used to cite sources within the social sciences. What it is it's just a way so that when students turn in papers, everything is done the exact same way. So an important part of APA is this general APA guidelines. It's just a way to put the paper together. Tells you how to do your margins, how you do your reference page, how to quote people within your paper that you're writing, giving them credit. It's doing a title page. In fact, right here, we've got 4 major paper sections. Okay, we've got the title page, we've got the abstract, which we'll get into later, we've got our main body, and we've got our references. So we got our title page, the very front of the paper. We've got our abstract, which is a page that just gives the reader in a couple paragraphs what the entire paper is about, so they know whether or not to spend time reading the whole paper. The main body is what you're doing. You're writing the entire research paper from intro to conclusion, and your reference page is where you got the information. So those are the 4 parts of an APA paper that you're going to be working on, and there's particular ways of doing this. For example, your essay should be typed double-spaced, 1-inch margins on all sides. APA recommends using 12-point Times New Roman font. So that's just some things that APA requires. And as we get into this, we'll learn how to do a page header or a running head and, get all that taken care of. But we won't worry about that right now. All I'm concerned about is the reference list, the bibliography. All right, if you go to your bibliography part of this paper, you'll look at your reference list. And depending on what you're doing, some of your references are going to be in one format, some of them are going to be in another. For example, here's a format for a book. So you found a book on Questia or some other source, and this is how you do it. You put the author's name, their first 2 initials if they have 2. If they only have 1 initial, put 1. Year of publication in parentheses, the title of the work, and notice, title of the work. Title is capitalized, but the rest is not capitalized. Very, very important. If you look down here, we've got an example. Calfee, RC, comma, and Valencia, RR, so 2 authors there. It was published in 1991, period. APA, the first A right here is capitalized, but look at the rest of the title. Nothing is capitalized, okay? So it has to be done exactly like they say. And then, what do we have here? Location. So the location is Washington, D.C., publisher, American Psychological Association. Okay, so that's how you format a book. Let's say that you're going to do an article. Still got the author, the initials. If there are 2, put 2. If there's only 1, put 1. A comma, and this little and sign if there's more than 1. If there's not, you just leave it with the period right there on the A. Year of publication, title of the chapter. Again, notice that the first word is capitalized, but nothing else is capitalized, period. Okay, let's look at this example right here. Men's and women's gender role journeys, a metaphor for healing, transition, and transformation. So notice nothing is capitalized except this first word, and just like they said up here at the beginning when we were looking at books, capital letter also for a subtitle. So because in this article right here we have men and women's gender role journeys, this is a subtitle, so that's why that was capitalized. Usually follows a colon right here. Okay, gives me the page number, the city, the state, the publisher. So gives you some examples. Use this Purdue Online Writing Lab that you have an opportunity to use to help you with these reference lists. So that's for a book, and this is for an article. let's say we've got a periodical, which is like a magazine article or something. We've got, let's see if I can get that to open there. There we go. Basic form, there we go. Gives you the information, gives you an example of what it's going to look like. There's what an article in a magazine looks like, the article in a newspaper, about everything that you could possibly need. Probably one of the things you're going to be using a lot is the electronic sources. So let's go there. So online periodical. So you got a magazine article off the internet. Notice how retrieved from what I suggest doing, what I want you to do, because I know at least in grad school they require us to do this, is they say retrieved on give the date that you found it from this website, because it helps if the person reading it wants to go to that website and they find out that you retrieved it 4 years ago. They're going to be thinking, oh, well, if I can't get to it, it doesn't mean it never existed. It just means that it's 4 years old. So it helps kind of tell the reader, you know, you might not be able to get to it because it's been 4 years. It might have been taken off by now. So at least you're giving them a date that you actually were able to get that. Let's see. Article from a database, newspaper article, you know, notice it always tells you where they're retrieved from. Let's say you got it off a electronic book. So if you went to Questia or an online library, where did you get this? And this should be retrieved on March 21st, 2013 from, and it will give the site that you had to go to in order to find that article. So all of this stuff that I'm giving you right here is on Purdue Online Writing Lab, which you have the website for. And when you go there, use these reference lists so that you can find the basic rules, if you're using a periodical, a book, electronic sources, etc., in order to put your bibliographies together correctly. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this list here and put it in a particular order, so that when you fill out your reference page, each of your references will have all this information in it. And for this, you're going to have 10 references at least. So you're going to have 10 of these books, magazine articles, websites, etc., in order for you to put this together in a format that is same old for everybody taking the class. So hope that helps as far as what a bibliography is, what APA is, what MLA is. You know, and when you're taking other courses, your professor may say, I need you to write a 10-page paper on such and such a topic, and I want it in MLA. And that's all they'll tell you. Well, when you go to OWL, you'll go to MLA Guide, and it will give you all the information as far as how to format it in MLA. If you can do it in APA, you can do it in MLA. You know, there's some differences there, but it's following the same kind of path. You know, you're just doing it the way they say. Maybe you have to make some changes with your margins and title page and main body and that kind of thing, but it's basically the same idea, how they want the paper put together so it reads good for them. So anyway, hope that helps. Now watch the other one on annotated bibliographies.